Good morning, YouTubers. I am your host, Laura, and today you are watching Atomic News TV. Now, on my channel, I have frequently interviewed people of who I feel is important for various reasons. And today we're going to take a little different turn, and we're going to take a step in a new direction. Today, I am going to be interviewing candidate for Congress for Congressional District 16 in El Paso, Texas, Sam Williams. I know that you have all heard the name Veronica Escobar. I'm sorry. This is the person who is going head to head with Veronica Escobar. I cannot wait to talk to him. We've been working on this for a couple weeks now, so I'm very excited to have him on my channel. And in just a sec here, I'm going to give him a call and I'm going to ask him various questions, let him talk about his platform and everything that he stands for, so that you, the viewers, can get to know him and see what other choices you have besides Veronica Escobar. So before I get into that, I want to make sure everybody here on my channel today is subscribed. If you're not, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video or every time I do a live stream like this. And while you're at it, you guys, make sure you hit that like button. All right. I will have some moderators in the house tonight. I will not be able to acknowledge any super chats until the end. So if you do super chat during this, please just hang in there with me and I'll acknowledge you at the end of the video. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to give them a call now and we're going to have a good time.
We on?
Yes, we are. We are live. This is Laura from
Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Good, good. I'm sorry about the little technical difficulties that we had there, but I'm glad that we have this going now.
Oh yeah, it's pretty common with the time zone things.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are still in good heart and in good mood for it.
Oh no, it's this is one of those things that when we live in the weirdest time zone in the country, I guess it happens.
And with Arizona never changing their time, their time with daylight savings, it messes everybody up.
Sure it does. We never. Hey, is anybody ever on the same page?
If we were, I think we'd all have a whole lot more or a whole lot less problems in this country, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure that would be the case.
Well, this is the first time I've ever had anybody at such a high level on my channel for an interview. Somebody that
okay, I'm not on a high level.
I think you are.
I'm a retired soldier. I had 29 years in the Army, and you start seeing what's going on. And when you're in the military, you really don't play the political game. You got to just work for the political people.
Right, exactly. And so when I got in touch with you guys and started working this out with you, I was really excited because those are things that I am very interested in as a person myself, but a lot of my viewers as well. So I can't thank you enough for coming on and being put through the ringer here with all my questions.
No, that people need questions answered. They want to know who you are and where you stand, and those questions are necessary.
Yes, I agree. So when I started the live stream, I just briefly told everybody that's watching who it was that I was interviewing. So I was hoping you could tell my viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, and what made you decide to run for Congress.
Well, my background, like I said, is I spent the bulk of my life in the United States Army, 29 years, 8 months, 16 days. That's what the DD 214 says anyway. I'm originally from Florida, and we retired here in El Paso just because it's a great area. I mean, it's a beautiful place to live, but we've got our political problems living right here on the border, of course.
Yes.
But, I come from a small town, 6,000 people, and I saw El Paso. What got me into politics was I saw El Paso being run like a town of 6,000 people instead of a town of 750,000 people.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's a big difference in how you're going to operate.
Yes.
And you see it from the municipal level all the way up through our state representatives. People forget that this is a major city, you know, and we're the forgotten child of El Paso, of Texas. You know, El Paso is so far removed from everybody else in Texas that I think they've just neglected El Paso.
Yes, yes. I know a lot of people, I've heard that from a lot of people actually. So I'm glad that you know, pick up on what the people are feeling in that area. I know that's going to make them feel a lot more comfortable with somebody new coming onto the stage.
Yeah, but I mean, when you feel like you're the, you know, I don't want to say this on the radio, but when you feel left out, you know, even you think about it as a child.
Yes.
You know, it makes you, you know, very distraught on what's going to happen. You know, El Paso's got a lot of potential. We have one of the largest military bases in the world here with Fort Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of the few places in the Army where we could do a maneuver of 60 miles to contact type exercises. You know, we can't even do that at Fort Irwin in California for that far. So, I mean, we have the resources here, and I love El Paso. I really do. I just want to change it for the better and get us back to where we should be.
That's definitely what needs to happen. Was there a reason you decided to run for Congress now versus previously? And was there any certain event or person that triggered that decision?
No, actually, I ran last time as a write-in.
Oh, okay.
What I did was to get my feet wet. I knew being a write-in, the chances of winning were, you know, slim to none. But it got me, you know, I got an education out of it. You know, it was an expensive education, but it was well worth it to figure out the political maneuvering you need to do to be able to even get into office.
Yes.
So running last time gave me that education, and it had a lot to do with Veronica Escobar's stances. You know, when I did the opposition research on all the candidates that were running, it was like, what? I mean, why are these people even running for a public office? You know, with a trainload of baggage behind them and no record of actually doing anything for anybody else other than themselves.
Yes, I often feel on the left that it's very much all talk, no action. They've got a lot to say, but not a lot to do about it.
Right. You know, you can identify the problem all day long, but if you don't identify a solution to go with that problem, you've done absolutely nothing.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. So my channel has mostly focused on what happens at our southern border and various different immigration issues. I have tons and tons of footage about what goes on down at the border. And then I've always done live streams to talk to, you know, anybody that simply just wants to talk about it, because I don't think that it's being talked about enough. I was hoping you would talk to us about what you see happening in El Paso right now in regards to the border and immigration, and how the border crisis might be affecting El Paso.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of our nonprofits, based on all these asylum claims that aren't going to be valid and are, you know, tapped out because they tried to get the people out of El Paso. You know, Annunciation House here did a great job at actually getting the people out, because the federal government doesn't pay for transportation when they get dropped off at a bus station after ICE can't hold them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Annunciation House was putting them in hotels for 3 or 4 days and then sending them out. Now they don't have any money to help the local people that need help. You know, that's one of the things. They're sucking up our resources that people don't even grasp that. And the people in El Paso have had a big heart about it, but they're getting tired of it now to the point that they don't want to see it either. And I've got a few ideas on how we can solve a lot of this, especially on the asylum thing. If you come through the desert, you know, to get into the United States, you shouldn't qualify. You don't qualify for asylum. I mean, it's a simple change in the HCFR. Change it to that you must, if you're going to apply for asylum, you've got to come through a legal port of entry, period.
Yes.
There's no ifs and buts about that. I mean, my daughter's husband is in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
He just got out of the Royal Air Force, and we're waiting on a visa right now. And we did all this the right way, and it's going to take up to 14 and a half months for him to get a visa. And my daughter's due, I think, the 7th of October with their first child. So he's actually getting vacation, and we had to work with them to be able to get him a visitor's visa to come for the birth of their first child.
Wow. So he's doing it the right way. And that's the way it should be with everybody. That's one thing I've talked
I agree wholeheartedly. My wife and I had to do it the right way. She's from South Korea. So, now granted, that was 33 years ago. So everything was done on a typewriter. So it took a whole lot more work to do it, but we still had to do it the right way.
Absolutely. And that's something that I think that most of the people that watch my channel believe as well, that as long as they're doing it the right way, we're okay with it.
Sure.
They shouldn't have the right to cut in line in front of people that have tried to do it the right way and have been waiting for years to complete the right way.
That's exactly what is happening. And we have a local congressman, our local congressman here. Her husband, a lot of people don't realize this through the nation. He's a federal immigration judge right here in the El Paso sector. And I'm sure she's using that. I don't know what you call it, that encyclopedia on the immigration system to be able to tell people how to circumvent or use those loopholes to their advantage that are within the HCFR for immigration.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah, she panders. She's really pandering to one specific demographic by not using her husband's last name. I find that to be kind of odd as well. Most women, when you're married, you take your husband's last name, and that's kind of the way things work. My wife did.
Right.
I think I would have rather taken her last name because it's only 2 letters long, which is a lot easier to write. But she wasn't going for that one.
That's great. But no, I absolutely agree. We've all kind of wondered that same thing. So, I mean, you're saying what everybody is simply thinking, and maybe too afraid to just say it because, the world is so sensitive right now, and it's kind of pushed into us right now that it's not okay to think differently than the left. So.
We all think differently. We all will never agree. And I don't care who you are. You never agree with everybody on every point. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
I ask people this question a lot. I said, do you agree with your wife on everything? And they're like, no. I said, well, that's the whole thing. We've got to be able to sit down. And one thing I see with our government across the board is nobody wants to sit down and actually have a conversation on how to fix something.
Right.
They're too busy trying to undermine their competition for whatever reason, instead of actually being willing to sit down and talk about it. I mean, you look at what's going on in Congress right now, all these investigations and everything. Congress isn't getting anything done, and they won't.
Right.
They are too busy worried about, destroying the president or destroying whoever's their competition on the right. The left is trying to destroy, and you see it on the right as well. I mean, the process is happening both directions because both people are so angry that they can't talk to each other.
That you hit the nail on the head right there. Absolutely. Now, what do you think, as a congressman, that you can do to help the citizens of El Paso in what seems to be this political game on the border?
Well, I really think, with the policies that I've got written down, I have stuff ready to go once elected to actually submit to the floor. Getting elected to Congress, I think, the stuff about you being a freshman or whatever, that has nothing to do with it. Your job's to go up there and do what the people asked you to do, and ask them what they want to get done, not what you think needs to be done always, because your constituencies are when you ultimately need to answer to it.
Exactly. Yes. And that is what a lot of politicians forget, that you should be listening to your constituents and, you know, voting for what they want, for what their wants are.
Right. You know, and with technology today, I mean, sure, you can go onto the House website and look at all the legislation they put forward. But I think as a congressman, you should be pushing that information to your constituency, not just, oh, you can go look it up on the internet. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
We go back, you know, 150 years, 200 years ago. Congress met, they wrote the legislation, they took it back to the constituency, and they asked them how to vote on it. And we've gotten away from that. I mean, we got away from it a long time ago. And we need to get back to that because it's what the people want. You're the people's voice. You're not a leader, you're an employee.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that people forget when they get up there. You hear them all saying, well, I'm a leader, I'm this, I'm that. Well, you're still an employee of the people that elected you.
Yes, awesome. I love the way you think. So in that same kind of like boat, as far as what's going on in the border and immigration, what are your thoughts on sanctuary cities and the different entities that are openly assisting the migrants who cross into the U.S. while they're ignoring our immigration laws?
I think they need to be prosecuted. I mean, they're breaking the law.
Yes.
You know, there's no such thing as the sanctuary city, whatever. What gives a city a right to become a sanctuary city? Where is that in the Constitution? The Constitution is laid out on, immigration based. If you go back and look, it was a $10 tax on everybody coming into the United States.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to come in, you paid a fee.
Right.
It was that simple. So why do we have to just allow people to walk through and come into our country and then demand that we support them?
Right. Right.
The other day I was, O'Rourke put out, that we caused the drought in Guatemala. How in the heck did we cause a drought in Guatemala? Somebody explain this to me, because if you go back and you look through history, there are weather cycles,
yes.
that happen.
Absolutely. And that's why when
the Mayan civilization died out a lot because of those weather cycles.
Yes. And that's why it amazes me when AOC talks about, how hurricanes are because of climate change now. Hurricanes have been happening for a long time, AOC.
Well, I mean, think about how many of the expeditionary fleets were sunk by hurricanes. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the Dorian was a very strong Category 5 that stalled over the Bahamas, which is just, a tragic thing to have happen.
Yeah.
But, is it the most powerful? It's the most powerful hurricane since we've recorded how strong hurricanes are. That doesn't mean that it was the strongest one ever, Right.
It's almost as if she feels there's never been one of that, magnitude ever before. And it amazes me.
No, but if you look at the Pacific, right? There's storms at that magnitude all the time.
Yes, exactly.
So where is this climate change coming from? I mean, if you think about it right now, we're in a warm cycle as far as the Earth's orbit and a little bit closer to the sun. Mm-hmm. So that's going to drive temperatures up. But this is a cycle that has gone on for thousands and thousands of years.
It's happened many times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is nothing new.
Nothing new, yeah. But there's so many people that just don't understand that. And I'm sure it amazes you as much as it amazes me that they don't know this.
Well, I was in a town hall with Veronica Escobar, of all people, right? I try to go to her town hall meeting because I want to hear what what kind of misinformation is being put out, and if she's putting anything out that's actually the full truth.
Yes.
I was in a town hall meeting, and she said that Boston would be underwater within 20 years. Okay. Yeah, Boston's average elevation is about 140 feet. At the current rate right now, with whatever the ocean's rising, it's 0.13 inches a year.
Yeah.
if nothing changes, it'll take 1,000 years for that to happen. Maybe.
Right.
But with knowing what we know about historical weather cycles, it's not going to happen. It's actually going to recede.
Veronica Escobar is suddenly a scientist now.
Well, she states that she believes the science.
Yes,
I don't believe anything unless you can show it to me. I want to see all the data and not just listen to one side. You've got to take all of it, put it together, and make a good decision based on the information, all the information, not just one side of the information.
Correct. Now going back to the sanctuary cities, one of the types of entities which you mentioned earlier that are giving assistance to the migrants are churches. Do you think El Paso citizens are not receiving the community outreach and resources that they would normally receive from churches because they're being used on the migrants instead?
Yes, that is a fact. A lot of the churches right now just don't have because they helped with the migrants. Now that the local people that they normally help aren't getting the same type of assistance that they were getting. El Paso is one of the poorest cities in the United States.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For the size, Detroit's a little bit poorer with it than El Paso, but we're roughly the same size cities. I think Detroit's population is about 10,000 more people.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this starts at the local level. The city of El Paso hired a city manager. Most cities of this size don't have that type of government because you have department heads that can run the city.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happened is they're paying this guy to run El Paso. They're paying him $330,750 a year as a salary. Now, the Detroit mayor, comparatively speaking, Detroit, the same position, mayor / city manager, right, makes $180,000.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't afford to pay this much stuff. And these are all the things that I've said, I see. And with federal pressure, I think we can fix a lot of that. Our streets here are garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. And I'll call the city out on it or whoever, because we need to be able to get some federal grant money down here to fix our surface streets. The highways are being maintained because that's state and federal funds.
Mm-hmm.
But with the local streets, half of them, they're all potholed. The pavement is collapsing, and there's just no real maintenance on it. And they're saying they have no budget for that, but they have budget to build. We live in the desert, mind you, and they're building all these water parks all over the place that the city's got to maintain. But there's nothing in the city budget for the maintenance of them and the upkeep.
Oh no. Now I know infrastructure is a big issue all across the country, but I know there are some places where it's specifically more of an issue than others. So I actually had no idea that El Paso was having, a problem with that. So
well, the problem in El Paso is that the way they've done the planning is that it's all urban sprawl. So there's, we don't have a lot of large buildings here, or apartments and things like that where people would live in multi-level buildings. So the city just keeps spreading out.
Oh,
and
okay.
As this urban sprawl happens, it makes the infrastructure a whole lot harder to maintain.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Especially if you're not having a population increase,
mm-hmm.
And the tax base in El Paso is actually the opposite of what it should be. It's about 70% residential property tax
mm-hmm.
and 30% commercial property tax. A thriving city generally is the other way around.
Right. Oh, so that must be hard on everybody in the city. I mean, that's
right. Everything that's here is just, for the most part, is service-based industries.
Wow.
And service-based industries don't drive economies.
Yes, exactly. That's true. Very true.
They inherently have lower wages, and you won't have a lot of wage growth with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't believe in a $15 an hour minimum wage either, because that'll put those small businesses out of business.
Yes, neither do I, because as soon as you make it $15, then the price of everything, they're going to want $20 for that hamburger, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. There's a direct correlation in raising the minimum wage and prices actually going up, because now, it's the inevitable. If you have to pay more for somebody to do the job, the cost of the product is going to rise.
Exactly. And it amazes me that people don't understand that simple, like, math, that simple economics. And I always joke that I'm mathematically challenged, yet I can understand that myself. So I don't understand why other people don't understand that.
I think most, 3rd or 4th grade kids generally understand that.
Yes.
The thing is, we have the party of what I call the bread and circus. They want to give everybody everything, and they keep it. It's an entertainment thing.
Yes.
They promise them all kinds of free stuff, but when it comes down to it, where does the free stuff come from? You got to pay for everything.
You do.
Everybody knows that.
The money's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, so eventually you're going to run out of other people's money.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to remember that.
Everybody's money forever.
I'm going to have to remember that phrase, the bread and circus.
Well, it goes back. That actually goes back to the Roman Colosseum, when the Romans did all the games,
Mm-hmm.
the gladiators and all that, because they would throw bread out.
Oh.
To feed the people, keep them, because it kept them blind to what was really going on politically.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. Neat little story.
It's history stuff, but the more you read, the more this stuff starts
to make sense. Yes. Now
we're to the point, I think, right now that we have people in this country right now that don't want America. They want it to be this. They think that they're going to have this big utopia by having open borders and allowing whoever to come in. But if you look at, let's say, on the West Coast right now at San Francisco, as an example, or Los Angeles, how many people are homeless because they've driven the wages to the point where they've had to tax people to the point out of their own homes?
Yes. It's just, I'm born and raised in Southern California, and California as a whole scares me now because of what it has become.
Yeah, and it started a long time ago in California.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't this isn't something that happened overnight. This has been going on for a long time, and everybody's California's failing, yet they want to come over here to Texas, per se. And now they want to turn Texas into California.
Yes.
Or turn Arizona into California.
Yes, that's one thing that we've noticed here in Arizona for over a decade now. We've had a large increase of people moving or retiring or leaving California to go somewhere else, and they come to the Southwest, and they want to bring what they left and bring it to our states, which
doesn't work.
No.
We're not those kind of people, so we don't want that. We want to be where we're still free to do what we want to do, not what they want us to do.
There's a reason why they left it. There's a billboard that I once saw that says, "Don't vote for what you left behind."
No, and that's true though. But that's exactly what happens when people start migrating through the country. And we're not even talking about the people coming in illegally. It's people inside our country.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I just don't, I can't, your choices, and that goes back to the minimum wage thing as well. Your choices through life dictate your destiny. I don't dictate your destiny. You don't dictate mine.
Right.
It's based on the choices we make.
Yes. Exactly.
I honestly believe that you can be anything in this country you want to be if you're willing to put the time and the effort into it.
And make the right choices.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't go out and be, beating your wife up and stuff like that and expect to succeed in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just not an acceptable practice. Or if you drive drunk down the road, that's a personal choice. That's not my choice. I didn't make a choice. If I made that choice, I pay the consequences for it. You can't blame it as a mistake. That's a conscious effort to do that.
Right. Exactly. So let me ask you about the wall. That's one of my favorite topics on my channel. The wall.
All right.
Well,
we can get into walls. I mean, I ran the green zone in 2008, 2009 for border protection. And we had 26 miles of wall in the green zone.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, is the wall going to stop everything? No. But, you still have to man the wall. Walls are a deterrent. We need the wall there to at least funnel people into one spot where we can control it.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what, I look at it from a tactical aspect, more so, as a security.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think that any of the FOBs or cops or anything that we had in Afghanistan or Iraq did not have walls around it, you're sorely mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Walls protect people. Walls, fences, that's what they're there for. They're going to stop. They're either to keep something in or keep something out.
Right.
One of the two.
Right.
Or both.
Yes, or both. People don't realize that there are at least over 20 countries across the world that have massive walls like we're building to protect their country.
To defend their border.
Yeah, to defend their border, either to keep people in or keep people out. Either way.
Well, look at East Germany. What did they do? What did the Russians do? They put a wall up.
Yes.
To keep the East Germans in and the West Germans out.
Mm-hmm. Although
if you wanted in, they'd let you in, but you're not leaving.
You're not leaving, right? Exactly.
Kind of like the Hotel California, right?
Yep. Now there are people who, on the left, I will just say politicians on the left who often tweet and post on social media that the wall is completely ineffective. Now I know, just a stone's throw away from you in Sunland Park, New Mexico, they just built a good chunk of private wall. And since
they built a mile out there. Now where it's at, it's on Mount Christ. It runs up part of Mount Christ-Rey. The problem is that we need to finish going over the mountain and
over the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. Rumor has it that that's going to happen here shortly. So
yep.
Once they close that gap, then we'll probably have about 30 miles there or 40 miles of fence that's complete that will keep people that'll have to go out through New Mexico, out toward Columbus to actually be able to, and they're building out there right now too. So as this thing comes together, it's going to slow people down.
There are still people that think the wall is ineffective, but yet since this has been built in that section, there have been 0 crossings in that section since it was built.
There's been a few out there, but it's not what you think. I honestly think that some of the crossings were coordinated. Were a coordinated thing. Where the wall's at, it's at boundary marker 1 for the U.S.-Mexico border.
Yes.
And it's in an area that there was some stuff there, but you have to go west of there is where the mass crossings were happening. That area is still pretty well open, and that's in Anapra. And in the Anapra area, which is when they go over the mountain, that will close that all off.
Yes, yeah. Is it the Anapra Gap? Is that what it's called? I think.
Yeah, and it's just the fence just stops. The wall stops, and then there's the military people understand what I'm talking about. There's a Jersey barrier there, and then it goes up the side of the mountain.
Right.
So you can still walk around the ends of the fence on both places until we close it. But I honestly think that we have people here in El Paso that were coordinating a lot of these big crossings. Making money off of it.
I think you're right with that. I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
I mean, I'll give you an example of one of the things I saw. It was on El Paso Street here in El Paso. Somebody's parked in a parking spot filming a manhole cover. And I'm sure you've seen the video.
Oh, yeah, it's on my channel.
Okay. So how the heck are you going to sit there for 10, 15 minutes waiting for somebody to pop out and play whack-a-mole with? Because that's what it looks like, you know?
Yes.
How do you know unless somebody's giving you the information, or you're paying for the information, or you're part of that problem to see that happen? I mean, the chances of that happen, you got a better chance to win the lottery than being in the right place at the right time for dudes to start popping out of a sewer somewhere.
And that has happened multiple times there, from what I understand.
It has. It's not something that hasn't happened in the past.
And isn't the port of entry like just a couple blocks away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good part.
They could have gone through that port of entry, but no, that's not what they're after. They don't want to follow the rules.
But it also makes you think about it. With what we do actually have, where the problems really are, all that does is enrage people and create a bigger problem.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of identifying how we fix the problem, you can show that, like I said, you can show the problem all day long, but how are you going to fix it?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and the only way to do it is with the wall, and you got to have people with guns on that wall.
Yes.
And you got to allow them to use the guns.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but it can't be. You can't give the guys, tell them to defend the border, and then not allow them to enforce that order.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's what we're having now. I mean, I'm quite sure we have people going to Juarez and helping people circumvent the immigration laws to get into this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they're paying $3,000 to $5,000 to come into the country illegally, you could come to a port of entry and $500 will get you in, you know?
Right.
So why would you use somebody else? The cartel's making money off of it.
Mm-hmm. Big business down there.
Oh, yeah. Human trafficking on the southern border over the last, I think it was last year, was a $150 billion industry.
Wow.
It was a very large number.
Yes.
You know, and that's the one thing that people forget too. Is like, you know, they talk about family separation. All right. Can you put kids in with adults? No. You've got to separate them until you can identify them.
Right. Right.
You know, and I suggested the DNA test during the last elections in 2018. That was one of the things that I had done some reading on to find out how quickly we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do. There's a system out there right now that you can do 5 DNA tests in 90 minutes, all at the same time. And in 90 minutes, it'll tell you if those people are related.
I think we need to be doing it.
I think we do too. Not just a test project. This is a proven system. But with the procurement process that the federal government goes through too is another issue. Because everything's got to be tested forever and ever. And then maybe we'll buy it after that technology's outdated.
Right. I mean, there's one thing I've always said on my channel is that we're going to have an entire generation of children south of the border that are going to be angry that the U.S. didn't do as much as they could to stop the fake family units and the child trafficking coming over the border.
Right.
And I think that this doing a DNA test like this is definitely a good start.
It is. I mean, even in Afghanistan and Iraq, when we raided a village or something, we segregated populations. We segregated males from females and, you know, children from the adults.
Mm-hmm.
Because when somebody's under duress, if you can take that threat away, generally they're going to tell you who the threat is.
Yes. Yes, I think I've heard that before, and that makes complete sense.
But that's the thing that you're not hearing, like, out of my 2020 opponent after I win this primary. You're not hearing that from Veronica Escobar. She's not going to talk about that side of it because that doesn't pull on your heartstring. That's the cold, hard truth about what's going on. And that's what people need to really understand is There are things we need to do. We lose kids in our own, American kids, in our own foster care system.
Yes. Yeah.
8,000 or 9,000 last year that got lost. These are kids, we know who they are, and we can't find them. Now you're going to take kids, we don't even know who they are, where they're from, and put them into the same system? Doesn't sound like a good plan to me.
No, it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
I think so as well, because if we can't figure out how to deal with our own kids, how do we deal with somebody else's kids?
Right. We
I understand we need to protect the kids, but they also need to stay in a secure facility so they're not trafficked, because we know that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lady that DHS, or it might have been ICE, one of the somebody under DHS, they arrested this woman. She was recycling kids to and it's on one of the one of the government websites.
Mm-hmm.
She had done this 15 times.
Oh my gosh.
She would pick the kid up here in the United States after that person was released from custody, and then pick the kid up and take the kid back to Guatemala so they could repeat that cycle.
Oh, and what a horrible life for that kid to have to do that over and over.
Right.
You know?
Well, the kids, and I'm sure the kid's being abused the whole way.
Right.
The whole time, because he's a prisoner at that point.
Yes. That's you know what, that's a perfect description of what they are when this is being done. They're a prisoner.
Yeah. I won't call them a slave, but I will call it they're a prisoner.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, they use fear to keep these people from talking and these kids from talking.
Absolutely.
The easiest way to keep people shut up is to to use fear.
Fear. Yes. That's the number one thing.
Use the threat of violence to keep them quiet.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I know in El Paso right now, it's a sensitive subject. The Second Amendment, gun control. But
you say it's sensitive, but you know what? Gun sales here in El Paso have actually gone up. Really?
That is interesting to know, and I'm glad you told me that, because I was wondering that. As somebody who believes in the Second Amendment, I own my own handguns, and I open carry. I was really curious to know what was happening there, after the fact.
I have friends that own gun stores, and let me tell you, business has been good. And the thing about guns, and a lot of people, it's a tool, right?
Yes.
I can do the same damage with a shovel that I can do with a gun.
Exactly. So
can you.
9/11 happened because of box cutters. So
exactly.
if you remove hold on, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought my phone clicked and I thought I had lost you. I apologize. So what I've always said is, if you remove, handguns or assault rifles, anything like that, there's always going to be another weapon of choice. So it's clearly not the problem.
No, it's the gun doesn't. I mean, I've got a lot of guns, and I can tell you, none of my guns have done anything today that I know of. They don't get up and walk away. They don't have legs. They don't go out and operate themselves.
Yes. So true.
It's a conscious effort to pull the trigger on a gun.
Right.
So understand the difference of what a military weapon is and what a civilian weapon is, what the difference is.
Mm-hmm.
A military grade weapon is going to be selective fire, which in turn kind of makes it an assault weapon. But if I use a golf club, I can make that golf club an assault golf club,
Right.
By what people are saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
But assault weapons are selective fire. They have a safe, a semi-automatic, and an auto mode or burst mode of fire.
Mm-hmm. That
is the true definition of an assault rifle. It has to be fully automatic in some form or fashion, not semi-automatic.
Mm-hmm.
It really, that's what really angers me about it, because I carried assault rifles,
Okay.
And there's a big difference in them.
Yes.
For all practical purposes, a machine gun is an assault weapon.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Anything that's in an AR or a platform right now that you buy on, that you just go to your local gun store and buy,
right?
I consider it a modern sporting rifle. It'll kill a deer just as quick, if it didn't look as angry.
Right.
The 223, 5.56 by 45 that the military uses is not an extremely powerful round. It doesn't have a lot of range.
Mm-hmm.
Anything over about 300 meters, that bullet's running out of gas.
Yeah.
Anything with the AK round. These rifles are designed for close quarters combat. What they were designed for. The 7.62 by 39, which the AK-47 fires, is not that powerful round. At 200 meters from a 6-foot man, there's a good chance that bullet's going to be in the ground at 200 meters because it's so heavy and it's not moving fast enough.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I like carrying a 45. Mm-hmm. That's because fat and slow, if you got to stop something, you have maximum bullet weights around 147 grain. 45, you're looking at 230 grains, which is going to carry a lot more energy with it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. But I was at a thing with the police chief not too long ago here in El Paso, and it's been after the shooting, but I just happened to have some ammunition in the car, and I brought in a bunch of pistol ammunition from 22 up to 45. And I used it to demonstrate, and I said, which one of these bullets, I had an older lady, which one of these bullets is more dangerous? Mm-hmm. And she grabbed the 45, and I told her, no. The one that's more dangerous is at 22.
Wow.
No, at 22 is, think about it, 22 caliber has killed more people than big caliber stuff.
See, and that's my choice of a gun is a 22. I prefer a 22. So that's interesting to know.
But 22 is fun to shoot. It's cheap to shoot.
Right. It's fun. It's cheap, and just because I've had hand surgery before, it's easier for me to shoot. So
no, and I understand that. I mean, there's a purpose for it. If you can't handle a bigger caliber, 22 is great. It's also a great round to teach people with.
Yes.
So that they get over the fear of the recoil and things like that. Because that's one of the biggest fears that a lot of people have when they start looking at big bullets, right? The 45, it looks so big, but it has less recoil than a 40 cal. Mm-hmm. By far. It's a lot easier to handle.
Absolutely.
So I love my guns, and I think that an armed society is a polite society, to be honest with you.
My husband has that sticker on his gun safe.
Well, you think about this, though. Any country that has banned firearms from civilian populations has more gun crime, more gun murders than countries that allow firearms.
Right. And I don't know why people can't swallow. I don't know why people can't swallow that pill, because we could literally put the facts in front of them and they'd sit there and shake their head and say, nope.
Yeah, no,
it amazes me.
I've read a lot of the data, and there's nothing that, I don't care whether you open or conceal carry. I mean, I think conceal carry is better because it keeps them guessing.
Right.
But a lot of people too, you hear this after these mass shootings. Well, why? The counterpoint is why didn't somebody with a gun stop them?
Yes.
Well, if you've never been shot at, you're going to scatter. It's not fun. It's not a fun thing to have happen. And a lot of people aren't trained to use firearms under stress. Mm-hmm. There's a whole different deal in shooting under stress than there is in shooting, at the range.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yes.
I would recommend anybody go get training on how to shoot under stress. I tell them to go run a half a mile, then try to hit a target.
Oh, that's probably what you guys had to do in the military, is do things like that.
We did. We learned to shoot under stress so that you don't lose your mind in a firefight.
Right. Because you never know what's going to happen or how exhausted you're going to be and have to pull it off. Absolutely.
Right. And that's why you want to teach people to shoot under stress. Even law enforcement goes through that kind of training to learn to shoot under stress. And some of the problems with law enforcement right now, you take somewhere like New York, they have 12-pound trigger rates on a handgun.
Okay.
For the police department. That's like taking a revolver and shooting it double action, expecting to hit the target every time.
Oh.
It's a very heavy trigger weight.
Yeah.
If they would allow them to loosen, to go to a lighter weight, they would be more accurate. That's why a lot of these, a lot of the cops actually have problems hitting targets, when it's for real, because
in the heat of the moment.
Because as soon as you pull off that 12-pound trigger, chances are you're going to be off target. And stray rounds are just as bad as the bad guys' rounds.
Yes, right. We've seen
and that's why a lot of these things that happen with law enforcement, why there's so many rounds fired. Because they have to be able to get back on target.
That makes total sense. Now, in Texas, we've all kind of heard that. I think everybody's heard that saying, don't mess with Texas. So why do you think there's still no constitutional carry there?
I think it's because of all of the liberal state representatives we have. I mean, that's my honest opinion. Here in El Paso, there isn't a single elected official right now, other than the mayor, that is a Republican.
Wow.
Or a conservative, even, or an independent. They are all hardcore Democrats.
Now that's a big thing, because everybody thinks of Texas as a red state. Do you think that Texas really is turning blue? I mean, is that something that people
they're dumping? That's the thing. They're dumping so much money in here. Most of the conservative candidates are being outraised 1,000 to 1 in dollars. And one of the issues I've got is, you hear people say, well, you got to run on the issues. Yes, you do, but how do you get your message out there? And it costs a lot of money to get, airtime, TV commercials, billboards, all this stuff to get that message out there. And that's what's happened here in El Paso. I can tell you during the last election that there was 3 of us that were conservative candidates that ran, 2 independents and a Republican. And between the 3 of us, we spent about $100,000. Veronica Escobar spent $1.3 million.
Right.
On her campaign.
Yes.
So whose message is going to get out there quicker and better?
Right. The one who spends more money.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money.
It's a lot. It's expensive.
And that's where our conservative base is having a problem. People get mad when I say this. Republicans, we all like to hold on to our money. I got it. I like to hold on to mine too.
Yeah.
But to keep things from changing, you're going to have to open your wallet up and give to your conservative candidates.
Yes.
Wherever that is nationwide. And the thing is, you can give money to any candidate nationwide that's supporting your cause, because a lot of people forget Congress is a national thing. So the decisions that are made up there can affect everybody in the United States.
Yes.
Not just your own district. That's another issue that I don't think people understand the scope of what the federal government does. Now, we have a lot of overreach with the federal government by any stretch of the imagination on a lot of different stuff, because a lot of things need to go back to being state issues, not federal issues.
Yes. Oh, I agree with you on that 100%.
Because that's our biggest issue right there, is the states don't control anything, or what they should be controlling, because the federal government has overreached that.
Yes.
They dictate. We can get into education with that. The Department of Education is one of the newer departments in the federal government. but education should be left back to the states.
Yes. I so agree with you. Well, if I know that if I could vote for you, I would.
You know, there's a lot of people out there, but the thing is, you know, you still have that influence to tell people, hey, look, there are people running for office right now that
Yes.
actually care,
Yes.
that want to do the right thing. You know, it's just like whoever's in the Oval Office, right? I believe that Congress and the Senate should give them support, you know, instead of trying to railroad them into something.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when we start seeing executive orders and all this other stuff instead of true legislation on a lasting fix for a problem.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you with that.
You know, some people, oh, you're crazy for saying stuff like that. Why? That's really how it is.
It is.
The people elected the guy that's in the Oval Office, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so your job also needs to be to support what he's doing, because if he fails, we fail as a people.
Yep, and that's one thing I never understand is why is the left always trying to shoot this country in the foot?
It's all about. I think it's all about the money with them.
Yes, yes. I think you're right there. Ultimately, it is all about the dollar.
You know, and everybody, I've been asked why, you know, and you asked me too, what makes you want to run? I don't have to run for office. You know, I'm retired. I can go back and sit in my backyard and have a good time drinking beer, barbecuing every day if I, you know, and be fine.
Right.
But I'm willing to fight for the people of this country again. You know, I laid my life from the age 19 to the age of 48. I was in the military.
Yes.
You know, I got 95 months of combat time. You know, so I'm not afraid of the fight at all. I'll fight for the right thing. You know, we need to fight for it. But the Democrats right now, the left in general, I won't say just the Democrats, because there are moderate Democrats out there that actually care about the country. We have this far left democratic socialist people and progressives that are globalists, and they're willing to sell out the United States to pad their bank account.
Yep.
That's what I really see going on. And then we have other people that are running just to be an obstructionist. You know, Veronica Escobar was a prime example of that when she ran last time. Her main line was, I'm going to Washington to fight Donald Trump, or I'm going to fight the president. And she got it. The only reason she got elected, I honestly believe it was because of the veto factor.
Veto, yeah.
Because in Texas at the time, we've changed now, but we had straight party voting. That has been taken away now.
Oh,
that's going the way of the wind. So I think we're going to see we could see a good dynamic shift in politics in Texas in general. Maybe we can get rid of like Sheila Jackson and Al Green, you know?
Oh, I sure hope so. We need to unseat a lot of people there, apparently.
Well, I think we have to go back to electing regular people and not social elites. Yes.
Yes.
So
well
somebody
said.
that's actually had to live.
Well said.
under their oppressive rule.
Well said. Now, I know we've talked about a whole lot of things, right? You know, in this live stream. But based off our conversation today, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about to my viewers, or add to the live stream about you, your platform, or what you stand for or want to fight for?
I want to get, like, El Paso is one of the largest cities in Texas, right? 6th largest city in Texas. We don't even have a VA hospital here.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
No, we have a clinic. We have a clinic that's attached to William Beaumont Army Medical Center. The only thing that happens between the VA and William Beaumont is that the VA takes care of emergency services for or not the VA, William Beaumont does emergency services for the VA.
Uh-huh.
You know, but that's still, we need our own. We've got over 50,000, about 50,000 veterans here in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So why can't we have a VA hospital? You take somewhere like Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida, I think there's 2 or 3 VA hospitals in that area. And their combined population is less than what we have here.
Wow. And you don't have, I had no idea.
No, we have a clinic. We have a big clinic. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And they do what they can, but it's still, we need the whole hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they tried
Absolutely.
to build
I agree with you.
They're building a new Army hospital, and they're going to attach a VA clinic bed. What good does that do us?
Right.
Doesn't change anything. And I've never had an issue myself with the VA, except over prescriptions and them wanting to mail them and all that, and I wait till the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you know, they've taken pretty good care of me here. But I think if we had a hospital, a lot of people could be taken a lot better care of.
Yes, because I'm sure there are a lot of veterans in El Paso. Oh, I totally support you on that. Wow, I had no idea what you mean, and I'm sure there are many, many more people that had no idea as well. So, I'm
right, and Veronica Escobar, will go right back to her. She stated in a town hall that there's no support in Washington. I thought that was your job to get the support.
It is.
I mean, that's just maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think that it is our job to get the facilities and things that are funded by the federal government into our community as Congress.
Right. Right. Well said. Now,
you know, we've got, a few things. I mean, we've got an upcoming meet and greet / fundraiser.
Okay, that was going to be my last question for you was, where can, my viewers and people who come across this video find you, or show, or how can they show their support for you?
Well, they can go to the website, which is it's samforep.com.
Okay.
Okay, they could, if they want to donate, they can donate it through there. We use the WinRed system for most of the stuff. If they want, they can scroll down to the first page of the website, all the way to the bottom, and we also use PayPal.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have some, different ways of doing that, or they could mail us a check too. I mean, that'd be great. Either anything helps. I mean, that is probably the biggest thing right now is the fundraising issue that we have.
It's important.
We have this fundraiser happening next Thursday or Thursday after that? September 26th. We're doing an evening with Sam on Facebook. They can buy their tickets through the Eventbrite platform.
Okay.
I had to think about how to say that, and my brain stopped working there for a second. Well, anyway, we have that set up. It's, like I said, it's $20 per person. Food, non-alcoholic drinks, because I don't pay for other people's alcohol too often. So we have that going on. We have this weekend on the 14th, we have the El Barrio Sports Club. Now, that's not a campaign event, and I want to make sure people understand this, because some people have been trying to say that it's a campaign event. What we're doing is there's a Pee Wee football team that needed equipment, right?
Right, okay.
So we got together with the people in that neighborhood and with the football team to get a whole bunch of sponsors and stuff to come down, give product away, raffle off gift cards and stuff. And all the proceeds from this are going to go to this football team to buy their helmets, their shirts, their shoulder pads.
I love it. That's awesome.
No, they need it. I mean, it's one of the poorer neighborhoods in El Paso, and it's forgotten about. That the only time that anybody engages these people is at election time.
Yeah.
And they're great people. I mean, they're the heart and soul of El Paso. They really are. And they show, they take care of anybody that goes down there, to be honest with you. They welcome everybody.
Good.
contrary to popular belief.
Oh.
And, you know, I've been working with them for about 18 months now, just on, you know, whatever little project, because they do a toy drive for Christmas. They do a public Thanksgiving dinner, you know, based on donations that we get for turkey, and they do all this stuff. It's every year they've been doing this.
Okay.
So we've been trying to get them some exposure to get you know, to get this thing pumped up and to show that El Paso is really, we're all together in this.
El Paso is strong, that's for sure.
You know, it is. It comes together.
Yeah.
You know, and that's true with anything. You go back to 9/11. You know, the United States was pretty divided until that happened, and then, you know, we get hit. You know, we get a sucker punch, as Toby Keith says, and everybody came together.
Yes.
But that's short-lived too. You know, people don't care anymore. I was at an event yesterday, and there wasn't maybe 40, 50 people there, tops. And it was a 9/11 memorial event here we had in El Paso, and I was kind of upset about that people didn't show up.
Yeah, we're forgetting as a country, and we're supposed to never forget.
No, and you can't forget things like that. I mean,
you can't.
To me, that started a war that we're in right now. We're still in that same war.
Yes.
We've been in this war for a generation now.
Right.
You know, and how many soldiers have been wounded? How many soldiers have been killed? You know, just trying to defend this country against that threat that's out there. Because a lot of people don't understand the threats that exist existentially to the United States. That's one of the biggest things that I can say is that unless you've been outside this country, you don't understand how nasty this world is. Most people in the United States have lived under a security blanket for too long, and they don't understand what the rest of the world is like. And you don't want to bring the rest of the world into this country.
You don't. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
You know, we need to have that. We're a sovereign nation. We need to have pride in our country.
Yes. And it needs to be made, you know, so that having pride in your country doesn't get a slew of people ragging on you for it.
No, it shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
Should never happen.
Because first and foremost, if you were born or naturalized into the United States, you're an American.
Yep.
And you need to remember that. I don't care what color your skin color is. I don't care where you come from. Once you've you've pledged allegiance to the United States, you're a U.S. citizen, right?
Yes.
And first and foremost, your priority should be to America, not to somewhere else.
Yes. Yes. And not waving another country's flag as they come into our country asking for all the freebies.
Exactly.
You want to be an American, great.
That is a big issue.
Yeah. If you want to be an American, great. Be an American. That's the way I see it.
Hey, look at the people in Hong Kong right now.
Right? They're waving our flag.
They're more American than some of the people a lot of the people right here in this country.
Yeah.
Right now.
I posted a video on my channel showing them singing the national anthem and waving the American flag. People in Hong Kong are more American than Americans. And what's wrong with that?
Figure that out. You know, where is our sense of being a nation?
Yes.
You know, where is that going? And why are people trying to destroy that attitude? I just don't get it. I really don't.
It's people like Veronica Escobar that support that. So
no, they do. I agree with that. She does. That's pretty obvious.
I'm going to do everything I can to help you. I have 16,000 subscribers on my channel. I know this video during the middle of the day won't see a whole lot of traffic until this evening, but I will be posting this video out everywhere, all over social media, because the world needs to know that there is another choice other than Veronica Escobar in El Paso, Texas.
There is. And, you know, I want everybody you can follow us on Twitter too, and I wish everybody would. It's at Vote Samuel Will 1. It's my Twitter handle.
Okay.
Also, the 26th at BJ's Restaurant, the Eventbrite campaign is on Facebook. Our Facebook handle, and he say it. Yeah. And the Eventbrite campaign is An Evening with Sam. So when they see it, click on it. If they want to come, click on it, buy a ticket. We'll feed you, and I'll talk to anybody. I don't care who it is. I'll sit down and talk with you because I think that's important to what we need to get done.
Yes.
You need to hear what people think.
Yes. And people need to know that you do care about all the people. So, and that's clearly what you're showing.
I'm a regular guy. I've served with, every type of person you could think of just about out there. And I consider all those people in the military like that, they're my brothers. And, that's how we stayed alive. But as a country, we're dying because people won't come together.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Well, I want to thank you for being on my show today and answering all these questions that I had for you. I apologize for the time zone confusion.
No, we did it last week, so this week was somebody else's turn. So it's all good.
So
I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to people and let them know where I'm really coming from.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, of you coming onto my channel. Like I said, I haven't had anybody. Well, you don't seem to think you're that big, but I think you are. And I'm
5'11". I'm not that big.
So I have enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to share this out everywhere because I have multiple platforms that I can send out the links, make sure everybody knows where to go to find you on the internet, and share. Right. And I'll be sharing your future events too.
Right, and I really appreciate that. The more support we get, the better because we have to win this.
Yes.
This is a no-fail.
Yes.
Operation right now.
Yes,
we can't fail.
I'm going to be watching you close because I want to see you unseat Veronica Escobar so bad.
I want to unseat her as well because I think El Paso deserves better.
They do. That's exactly it right there. That wraps it all up. El Paso deserves better. So that's it. So thank you guys for being on the show today, and hopefully this won't be the last time we talk. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you again, some other time.
Yeah, anytime. Just that, you got the number to call the guy to get it scheduled.
Yep. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck with everything.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawra.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. I loved him. Okay, I loved him. Down to earth, well-spoken man. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. Let's just keep it real here. I'm pretty sure he should run for president next. Okay. After Donald Trump is done with his second term, there you have it. Those are my thoughts. I think he should run for president. Just because of his platform, just because of all his values, just because of his entire thought process on the way he thinks. He's ex-military. He knows how, what thought process it takes to defend this country. He is clearly wanting to do this for El Paso and the people, to give them something better. Okay, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, that's like the biggest person I've had on my channel. And I am so grateful to him and his campaign manager for giving me that opportunity. We all know that sometimes I can post some things on my channel that could be a little controversial, but they gave me a chance, and I appreciate that. They have no idea how much that means to me. That didn't just make my day, that like made my month. Okay. And September's not over with. So I am going to share this video to Atomic News on Facebook. I'm going to share this video to Atomic News on YouTube. Well, on YouTube, it's going to be in the community section for those people who maybe are not subscribed to my channel and just are skimming through videos. I don't want them to miss it. I'm going to share this video to Twitter. Okay, there's a group of people that I work with. They're going to share this video out to all their social media sources as well. And then on Facebook, like, I'm pretty sure I'm part of at least 50 Republican groups. Okay, and I am going to make sure that this link to this video is shared everywhere. I want you guys to share this video as well. And like I said in the beginning, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because this is not going to be the last time I interview somebody on my channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon so that you can get notified when I upload a video or when I am doing a live stream. I usually live stream twice a week with various topics. The most common topic, the border. I love to give you guys border updates. My colleagues here on YouTube have dubbed me the Border Queen, so I have to keep up with that title. I can't let my TRO tip. So I will be doing another live stream this weekend. I'm not sure exactly which day, if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. So you have to watch the community section of YouTube to find out when that's going to be. You guys make sure that you hit that like button on the way out. I want to thank everybody for being here today. And until next time, peace out. And let's vote Veronica Escobar out.